All right. We're doing our vocal exercises to start. Jay, my name is JJ, and I like jalapeno. No? Okay. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pixel Perspective Podcast. My name is JJ, and I am here, as always, with my good friend and co-host, Adrian. Adrian, what is up, sir?
Hey, howdy doody.
Man, full of words, as always.
We were just talking about intros are just the most awkward thing to do. I never know what to say, so it's just like, hi. Hi, guys.
Helping right now, big time. So thank you, sir, for that. As you can probably see, if you're watching the video version, we do have a third screen up, and we are joined by good friend of the show, Mr. PlatinumBro himself. Lewis, what's going on, man?
Hey, the pair of you. Thank you very much for having me on. Not a great deal is happening, but I am looking forward to talking about trophies with you guys today.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I have actually I sent you a whole list of like stuff that we wanted to kind of touch on and everything like that, and I was just like, I know that all of these could lead to so many places. And if you had asked me, like, just on the spur of the moment, like, could you make a whole show about trophies, much less a whole channel like you do? I'd be like, I don't know that I could personally do that and stuff. But the more I watch your stuff and the more like diverse things that I see out of what you do, and we'll get into what your channel is and go into depth about that after we do a little bit intro stuff. It just blows my mind how much there is actually to it. And like,
yeah.
And it also just blows my mind, like, how many different kinds of like types of gamers there are out there, what we all strive to do, and just the fact that we all love gaming is the number one thing. So super stoked to have you here, man. So why don't we just start off like we always do with a what you've been playing, and Lewis, we'll let you go first, man. I will beg you to please not like delve deep into the like, well, I played 74 games, 72 of them were like 10-minute platinums, and let me get into each one, because I know you could.
I probably could.
What have you been playing and enjoying, I should say?
Yeah, that's the key thing. What have you been enjoying? Because I would say I've been playing quite a few games that maybe work on the shorter end of unenjoyable. But actually, the main game I've been playing this week, or month even, is Bloodborne. It's my first Soulsborne game.
We've been watching.
You guys have been playing. You guys have played Dark Souls, haven't you? Both of you played Dark Souls
2 is what we've been playing.
Yeah. It is an awesome game. It's literally my first experience into Soulsborne. It's a bit of a difference from, playing loads of really easy games, going from like really easy to like really challenging. And I think it's pretty darn awesome. It's very confusing. I feel like the difficulty is what it's renowned for. But actually the fact that you wander around not knowing where you're going for most of the time of the game is actually the thing I've noticed the most. It's just, there's no hand-holding in any form on this game. That's for certain.
Yeah, and from what I understand, it's like that, and at least from what I experienced, and I've only played Dark Souls 1 and now 2 and then Demon Souls. They're all very much like that. I can't even imagine going through that stuff solo. I've tried a little bit, and very, very little progress was made. So
that's the beauty of those games, though, is the discovery and the wandering around and figuring out like what's around this next corner. What new area am I going to discover next? It's ever changing, and it's exciting.
Yeah, because I haven't played the other ones, but Bloodborne is actually, the map isn't huge. It's not like it's open world. You can call it what you want, but it's actually like it's like a selection of small linear maps, which actually, when you know where you're going and you know the shortcuts and stuff, you can think, actually, I could get through this game pretty quickly. But because you don't know where you're going and you have to really like explore properly and see everything, look under every nook and cranny, that it actually does take a long time, and I suppose that is part of the journey, isn't it? It's like exploring the world and not dying or dying a lot.
I'm curious to know what you're gonna think afterwards, because like I imagine like you seem to be enjoying it for now. But like, do you plan on like maybe checking out like the other Souls games and that kind of thing afterwards?
Well, I was speaking to one of my friends, my co-host on my podcast, Joel, and he asked me this yesterday, and I said, not anytime soon. I just think they are quite tired, like mentally draining. It's like the games where you play, and after like an hour, you just think, okay, I need to like stop playing now because I just can't maintain this sort of level of gaming. So I feel like maybe I definitely think I want to play Demon Souls and I want to play Sekiro, but probably not for 6 months because it's tiring. It's like mentally tiring to play.
The main reason I ask is because my friend Brian, who back when I was still doing my old podcast, The Frozen North, he was really big into Bloodborne, had never played any of the Souls games or anything like that. So that was his introduction into the series too. After he finished it, like he talked it up, said it was, one of the best games he's ever played and enjoyed the hell out of it and everything. And then he was like, and he said the same thing. He's like, I need a break, but eventually, yes, I would love to get into the Souls series and all that stuff. Eventually, and I don't know how long it was until he did it, but eventually he did go into the Souls series and he couldn't do it. He did not like any of those games. I think he tried 1 and 3. And he was like, he says Bloodborne spoiled him. I'm not sure what that means, but he really enjoyed Bloodborne so much. He said it felt like he was going backwards.
I can tell you exactly what that means. Bloodborne is much faster paced and in terms of combat. Yeah, I mean, you've got, how the roll in Dark Souls, how we use that quite often, it's still kind of clunky. And in Bloodborne, it's instant. You push that button, you're out of the way. And it's just, there's a lot more faster pace. It's also, at the time it came out, it was the best looking Soulsborne type game there was. But I'm of the opposite mindset because I started with the Soul series.
Okay.
I love Bloodborne, don't get me wrong, but it's not my favorite. The Dark Souls series definitely is.
See, I've recently watched somebody playing Dark Souls, and I didn't want to say it because I don't have any experience, but it did look a lot slower. And the thing about Bloodborne is that it's like the dodge is just like that, and it's not always a dodge. Sometimes it's like that quick sidestep, whereas Dark Souls doesn't appear to have that sort of sidestep ability, which is so fast. Yeah. But then again, you have to block in Dark Souls, whereas Bloodborne you can't block.
Right.
And there's that.
But interesting.
You can parry though.
You can
with the gun. So as long as you shoot that gun right when they're getting ready to attack you, you'll stun them, and that opens them up for attack. Almost enemies.
Not very good at that though. I just have to dodge. The parrying is really difficult. It's because there's so many enemies. There's so many enemies, so many variations. That's so many different attack patterns. Yeah. And every area has, say, 5 unique enemies. So it's like 5 attack patterns you have to learn. When you could just jump to the side and just give them a little hack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. Just to prepare you for Sekiro, though, if you ever get into it, Sekiro requires parrying. Like, you can't progress in that game unless you know how to do it. And it is hard. It is really hard. I'm still not good at it at all.
It looks so good, though. It's such a pretty game.
It does look good. It is. Yeah.
It is.
Bloodborne,
that's all I've been playing.
Anything else? Yeah, just Bloodborne. Wow.
That's very much, yeah. It's quite the commitment. It's quite a time
I would imagine so. Yeah, especially if you're going for all the trophies and everything.
Which I am.
Yeah. I've been watching you play, and it's been exciting. It's always exciting to see somebody's first experience with those style of games. They're just, it's so different.
Yes, I bet. Like when I've watched it back because I've been editing, like because I'm like so far ahead now. I'm like 30 hours in, and I'm editing still like hour 5, and I'm thinking I was so bad at this game. And the first couple of hours, the first 3 hours of the game is the hardest part of the game I found because there's no tutorial. You don't know how to parry. You don't know when to dodge, when to attack, and you end up getting killed by the most basic enemies in the game. They keep killing you over and over again. It is so frustrating.
You don't start with any equipment either, if I remember correctly, right?
No. I watched this video a video of this guy who played it, and he didn't know how to get his weapons, so he ended up just playing all the way to the cleric beast, which is the first boss, with just his fists.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. And
are you talking about the guy that was on your podcast?
Yes, Adam McDermott. Yeah, he's got
a trophy channel. That video was great. It was so
I did
good.
See that. Yeah. I did see that.
It was. I couldn't believe he did it. And now I've played it. I think it's absolutely insane that he tried to fight those enemies with his fists.
That dude's patience is off the charts.
Yes,
I would have gotten so frustrated. But just watching him, like in the moments that I would start screaming and wanting to throw stuff, he was just like, "Oh man, dang!" Yeah. I'm like, "Dude, like, all right."
That was
kudos to you.
That was my reaction to watching him do that. I was like, "Wow, you have so much patience."
He is a chill guy, to be fair. So when I spoke to him, he's very, very calm.
For sure. Yeah, it was fun to watch though. All right, Adrian, what you been playing, man?
Dark Souls 2, almost primarily, and Gosh, man, I think that's really about it. I've been playing a lot of games on my Game Boy Advance because I got that new micro that I told you about.
That's right.
So, oh man, I've been using the heck out of that and enjoying it. But yeah, Dark Souls 2 has really been the main thing we've been playing. It's been nice co-op experience. You know, we were just talking about Bloodborne and how kind of mentally draining it is. Dark Souls is the same way, but when you have a full team of people working together, it's almost like a cakewalk. It's a completely different experience. It's really crazy how
I prefer to play it this way.
Yeah.
I've also heard that Dark Souls 2 is the hardest of the three because it's got like some like really iffy dodge mechanic or something.
I don't think it's the hardest one. But we have been playing it co-op. I played it by myself before, and I don't think it's any harder than the first Dark Souls.
Okay.
Dark Souls 3 is probably, in my opinion, the most challenging of the games. But I mean, in terms of like how we play though, how we've been playing, we have another buddy who's been joining us, Billy. And with the three of us, the way it works, the way the co-op experience works is you are summoned into somebody else's world and you help them progress and then kill the boss of that area. Then we all join in on the next person and do the same thing. And we do that 3 times. And so what's been happening is we've been racking up all these souls, and souls are like the currency for leveling up your character, just like Bloodborne, the blood echoes. So we are like over leveling ourselves plus doing it together. So one person, when we're fighting a boss, might be like the person that takes all the damage or not takes all the damage, takes all the attention away so other people can get in behind the boss and attack him. And it just really makes it a cakewalk. It really does. But it's so fun. It's like a casual experience where we can just sit there and have fun talking, and it's so totally changes the experience of the game. It's really crazy.
Are all of them co-op? Was it just the second one?
No, they all are.
No, we played the first one co-op too, and Demon Souls.
And Demon Souls, yep. The only game that doesn't have co-op is Sekiro.
Interesting.
Which is a reason why I'm hesitant to play that one, because I am not a what's the best way to say this? I'm not somebody who's like, I want to do it just because of the challenge. Because I am just like, man, I just want to play and have fun. And man, like the solo experience that I had when I played, well, I mean, if you guys saw my review on the first Dark Souls, like I was very mixed feelings on that. And when I played with Adrian, had a blast. It was awesome. It was so much fun. And that's how I am with Dark Souls 2. I'm only playing it when I'm with them. But when I played solo and I tried to do a few of the things, and I made a bunch of progression, I still beat the game like, really, really quick. Cause I was just like, I want to get this damn thing done. And I just plowed through it and soloed when I had to.
Yeah.
But it kind of sucked a little bit of the enjoyment out because I was getting so frustrated and it's like I said in the review, I understand that some people do that kind of thing and afterwards they're like, oh man, that was crazy, and now I have this achievement under my belt and I can brag about it and stuff. Me, I'm just like, thank God that's over. My God, that was awful. So it's I'm very different in that regard from I think a lot of other gamers.
I think we've all got this sort of like a level that we'll hit, which is like our skill limit, and then when we get to this point where it's like when you're going over it all of the time, it can become so like fatiguing and frustrating. I totally get that. Or even 100%. In patience and stuff and grinding and stuff. Like I've played games where like they've been like 50, 100 hours and they've been quite repetitive, and I'm at the point where I'm like I'm tethering on quitting because I'm like at my limit here. And on that, are you both going to try and get the Platinum Trophy for Dark Souls 2?
No, not me.
No way. No.
Just finish it and leave it.
Yeah. I was actually thinking. Oh, go ahead.
It requires multiple playthroughs to get the platinum. A minimum of 3, I want to say.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was thinking about because I was watching your one of your videos on your trophy list reviews that you do.
Okay, yeah.
And so I was thinking about that, and I was like, God, man, if he ever did one of these, it would just be, for me, it would be just a 45-minute video of him laughing. That would go over too well. Like, because it's like I play a lot of games, but I think I have like somewhere between 35 and 40 platinums, and I will be honest with you, maybe half of those are from watching your videos on the like like, hey, 10-minute platinums right here, where I go in and I'm just like, oh sweet, free trophies, and I get those. So
They definitely are free.
Like, man. Yeah, well, no, I know, but I look at the prices and I grab the cheapest ones, and because like my name is Mayo, that's a ridiculously easy one. So, which I need to play the second one and get my gamer credit.
Great game. Exactly.
Yeah, I know. I'm all about the story on those.
Yeah, exactly. Game of the year 2020.
You're right. But it blows my mind. And we'll get into that when we start talking about trophies themselves and stuff. But it just blows my mind when I see people actually going through and putting in the time to get some of these bigger ones.
There is
one of the things I love about
lists.
Yeah, one of the things I love about like you said, grinding and stuff though, is that now I couldn't do this back in the day, and I did lose focus on a lot of games because I'm a JRPG fan, and so a lot of those older games especially require a lot of grinding and whatnot. Now it's actually easier for me to get through those because I can throw on a second screen or my phone and listen to a podcast, watch a video or something while I'm doing something mindless. And I totally understand the argument where people are like, well, are you even playing the game at that point? What's the point of including that in there? Like, why not just streamline it and leave out the grinding? I don't know. For me, there's something relaxing about it. And I'm sure I'm in the minority on that. But it's a way for me to be doing something, gaming wise while still, working my way through podcasts and that kind of thing. So
it's more like passive gaming instead of like directly inputting. And I totally get that. I think a lot of people do that. Like I personally have this thing where like I'm really fidgety. You might see it on the podcast today. And like, so I need something in my hands most of the time. So like when I'm like watching TV, I get really like antsy with my hands and I need to be doing something. So I find that if I'm like watching something, listening to a podcast, watching YouTube, I watch so much YouTube, and then also playing something that is like kind of like second nature, like it's like subconsciously playing, like grinding out some really easy games. I find it really soothing. I think it's a really good way to actually unwind.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, also like the progression. I love progression in games. Seeing your character grow from an extremely weak character to an extremely overpowered character, and so even though, you might be passively grinding or whatever, in the end, you still see that progression, after time. And that to me is rewarding enough.
I agree with that.
I mean, I really don't have like a long list on what I've been playing either. Dark Souls 2, obviously we just talked about that, so I won't go into that. The other one I've been playing is on the 3DS, Tales of the Abyss. It's a Tales game, a little bit older. I think PS2 is when it originally came out. Super long, super ridiculous with all of the terminology, and like the story's so out there and batshit crazy that I honestly have kind of lost interest, and I'm just at this point a buttoning my way through, and I'm sure somebody hates me for that, but I just cannot. I just want to be done with it. I'm almost done. I'm close to the end. So hopefully I can just finish that soon, and then I can move on to Uncharted 4, which is what I want to play next. So super excited for that one.
That's disappointing to hear. I hear that that's a lot of people's favorite entry in the series.
Ooh.
I think playing through it more than once is probably a good idea because, like I said, there's just so much random terminology that like they make up words, and the Tales series does that a lot, but this one more than any other game that I've played in the series. And I love the cast. I think the cast is really cool. I think the world is really fun. I think the gameplay is great. It just, my eyes glaze over with all the terminology and the random, like, I don't understand what is happening right now. You're talking about countries I've never heard of and making up different words for magic.
Right.
Why not just use the word magic? I don't understand. But anyways, I could go off on that whole thing. But anyways, I just want to get it done, and it's not bad. It's just not for me. So,
it's funny to hear you say that, because it's funny to see both of you have like a play style that's kind of like all in or nothing. Because you're just saying like you don't like this game, but you got to get through it. For me, I'm like,
on my list, man.
Yeah, right.
I agree.
Right. But also with Lewis, he was saying, I'm watching him play Bloodborne, and he got that first trophy, and he's like, well, now I'm in. I got to do it.
Yeah,
I was like, I mean,
that was the reality of the situation.
Yeah. Like for me, like if I'm not enjoying an experience, it's not a big deal for me to just put it aside.
Adrian, tell us, what's it like playing video games for fun?
What is it? Please enlighten us. Well, I always say whenever I do my like trophy list reviews and stuff, I say like, the best way, like I get loads of comments and stuff about like about their lists and stuff. And I always say like the best way to play is to just play like the games you want to play, and then if you can walk away and not worry about you actually want to finish games, that's actually the better way to play. So I kind of envy you if you can do that. I definitely envy people who can do that.
You know, I was gonna say, that was one thing I was gonna bring up, and what we can just transition into it now. So obviously we're talking trophies this episode. First thing I wanted to do was kind of like, you know, go over Lewis's channel and what he does and stuff like that. Obviously trophy related. Your name is Platinum Bro. You basically just get in there. You've got a podcast that you do called the Podcast. You do trophy list reviews of other people's like lists that they send you, and it's on a website, right? The what's that website they use?
PSN Profiles is the website I use.
That's the one. Yeah, because I tried signing into that and it wouldn't let me for some reason. I don't know.
You've kind of got to like you have to sign in, make an account, and then you have to actually they have to verify that you've actually using the right the PlayStation Network account. So you have to like put a password into your PlayStation like profile so they can see that it's actually linked, and then they do it that way. It takes them like a week because it's done by people by actual mods. I think it's just to make sure you aren't just like making an account with somebody else's PlayStation.
That makes sense.
Account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Game reviews. There's a few of those on your channel. Let's plays as well. We were just talking about Bloodborne.
Yeah.
And of course, you know what I've said plenty of times. Your videos on easy platinum trophies, just to bump up that gamer cred. Whenever people look at like my list, they're like, "Man, you got close to 40 platinums." I'm like, "Yeah, don't look at what they are, please."
No. Hide them all. I can say the same. I've got almost 400 now, and I would say like 300 of them aren't the best of games.
Yeah,
to be fair.
What I was gonna say though, because you were kind of alluding to a little bit, when I think of like a gamer who goes in for trophies and stuff like that, I think it's really, really easy to kind of like come off as, and even be in some cases like pretentious a little bit, and be like, oh yeah, I'm, you know, the best, blah 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 and stuff. And one of the things I absolutely love about your channel, and one of the things that drew me in, and especially like when I look at your trophy list reviews of other people's trophy lists, and you compare them to your own and everything, is exactly what you just said a minute ago. Is that you go in and you say like, guys, seriously, this is just me telling you what I think about this stuff. If you are not enjoying a game, do not play it. Like, just have fun, do what you want to do. This is just what I love. And that, like, the genuine just love for what it is that you're putting out there, that's 100% why I love your channel so much. And that's just great. I love to see it.
Oh, thank you very much. I don't like elitism, and I actually don't like it at all. I don't think anybody's better than anybody else because of something that they do. And I think it's prevalent in all. It shouldn't be in pop culture. This is my problem. We shouldn't be hating on people because they don't like Star Wars or because they like, you know, a certain game. And I feel like it props up so much about people always making negative comments about other people's stuff, and I don't agree with it. And yeah, I'd make videos on trophies and stuff, but you know, it is, you're right, it's about the love of gaming. You know, we're all here because we all want to watch each other gaming. We shouldn't be telling somebody that they haven't platinum Dark Souls, so they're not as good as another person. It's ludicrous. It's silly. It's silly.
Does that happen on the internet? I'm not
yes,
really sure.
It does. It does. It really does. Honestly, you'd be surprised.
What? So, just out of curiosity, what got you into being a trophy hunter? What made you decide to like play games and then say like, hey, here's all these achievements, and this is what I want to do?
That is the question. So I was like a 360 gamer boy. I liked my Xbox 360. I loved it. I think it was the best console of that generation. PlayStation 3 had a few exclusives, but come on, we had Gears of War. Am I right? And
right.
And I was never a completionist, so I would always like play games for achievements, and I'd always get like, say, I would try to get all the achievements I could, but then I would sort of walk away. But we're talking like 10 years ago at this point, and so I wasn't as sort of like into it. And I think when I moved over to PlayStation, and I started to see the trophies, and I had a new account, and I was just like, this could be like the completionist. I could just do everything. I could finish everything because it was always there. There was always like that need, that wants to finish things, to complete things to the best that it could. And I think it makes the games more fun. Like it extends the life of games. Firstly, so you know, for example, Uncharted 4, you play through it once, it's 15 hours. If you play through it to do all the trophies, you're gonna have to do it on crushing, which is the hardest difficulty, and a speed run. So you're probably looking at 3 playthroughs, probably up to 40 hours. So you're getting like double the playtime with a great game as well. And I think if this is a thing where it's like, if a game is great and the trophy list is great, the trophy list just makes the game even better. But because you can get games that are great that have bad trophy lists, and you can get terrible games with just terrible trophy lists. But
Yeah.
it keeps you playing. It makes you want to play more, and I think that's kind of how it formed. But realistically, 360 was like the achievements. Poplin was good, but I think the trophy system is probably better. And I think that's another reason that sort of just convinced me to want to finish them all, collect them all, and finish them all.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I always get like, especially with games that I love, it amazes me that what drives you kind of sometimes like makes me go like, oh, never mind, that's enough. Because like, obviously from what you described, like you look at trophy lists and stuff like that, and even after you finish a game, especially if you love it, you look at that and you say like, I'm going back, I'm doing the rest of these, I'm getting this one, I got to do whatever I got to do. Whereas me, I finish a game because I love the story and I just want to be, do that aspect. Very rarely do I go in and be like, I want to go back in for a second playthrough just so I can, finish and top off the rest of these. It's commendable because, but at the same time, you love to do that. So it's, it might be easy for you. I assume it is in a lot of cases.
It's a mixed bag, I would say. I think there's a lot of games that I've played that I kind of, for example, God of War is a great example. Now, I loved God of War 2018, great game. And I only played it once, and I platinumed it, and I kind of wanted to go back, but I also thought, could I commit another 30 hours to playing the game again? Because I feel like it's one of those games that deserves to be played twice, because it is so good. And like, for example, Spider-Man, which came out in 2018, that had a New Game Plus trophy. And because I had those small trophies, I was compelled to play it again, and that is another game that is so good, in my opinion, it deserves to be played twice. So I feel like that's, again, I've lost my trail of thought slightly here, but my point is that if I play a great game, I'm more than happy to play it twice. If I play a bad game and I've got to play it twice, I'll know it's bad going in, and I probably will refrain from playing it, to be honest.
Yeah. Do you ever like put if it's a bad game in a case like that, but like let's say like there's one trophy left that requires a second playthrough, but it's long, do you like usually just go right into it, or do you say like, you know what, I'll give it a month or so, then I'll come back and do it or whatnot?
That's an interesting question, and I would say both, because I don't want to get too much into it because I spoke about The Last of Us Part 2 endlessly, but that was quite a hard story to take in.
Yes.
And so I left that for about 5 months before I went back and did the New Game Plus trophies. However, Days Gone, which in my opinion is the worst Sony first party game that's come out on this generation, or one of the worst big games. But that's not saying a bad thing, because the first party games are all so good. That's like saying it's still like a 7, 8 out of 10, but there's just so many 9, 10s out of 10s. But that game, I finished that and I had to play that again, the whole game again, for like 2 silver trophies. And this is when it kind of is a little bit of a problem, because it was like 30 hours to get some silver trophies on a game which I thought actually wasn't that good. So is that a problem? Maybe.
But at the same time, you get to look at that and be like, I don't need to go back to this game anymore.
Ever again.
So, right.
Burn it.
Well, I get where you're coming from. I was into achievement hunting on the Xbox 360 when that came out. I mean, I was all in on that. Mm-hmm. And even the games that I just didn't care about that much, I was driven to get that 1,000 gamer score from that game. So it's some kind of mindset that you just get yourself into. And especially when like I had other people that I was going up against, I had to create some sort of competition for myself.
Yeah.
I remember the one that I was really up against was Major Nelson. He's the PR guy for Xbox. I was following him on my friends list, and I was like right there neck and neck with him all the time, and I could never seem to get past him. And then all of a sudden I started getting past him, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. And I went for, what was it? The 100,000, mm-hmm. I think is where I wanted to get to 100,000 gamer score. And after I get that, then I was done. Like after I reached that 100,000, like I had no drive to do it again. Like even moving into the PlayStation, trophies did not interest me whatsoever. I was like, that phase of my life is over now. Like I don't want to do it again.
I think that's a good, like, and this will lead into the next question I have, but I think that's an interesting aspect of it. Like, you're the second person I know that has gotten to 100,000 Xbox gamer score and then been like, now I don't want to do anymore, and they just kind of like stopped, which I thought was fascinating. But at the same time, like, I also think it's interesting that PlayStation has platinum trophies, whereas Xbox just has just achievements across the board.
Yeah.
And there's no, like, if you get everything in one game, you get those points, but there's no like defining thing saying like achieved everything in this. So it's kind of like, it almost doesn't even matter as much, in my opinion, at least when I look at that. Like, if I look at it and see somebody has a platinum trophy in a game, I know they've done everything. On Xbox, if I look and see that they've, it might say like 330 out of 340 or something like that, and I'm just like, well, they've done a lot, I get it, and I don't really put much thought into, because it just goes to their overall total.
I suppose if you were to compare, like, if you look at two accounts that could both have 100,000 gamer score, one person could finish 100 games and one person could play 1,000 games and get one achievement per game. So it's it's harder to assess the skill, I suppose, or the commitment to the games. Whereas like, you could compare someone with who's played 100 games on PlayStation and one person's got 100 platinums and one person's got 0, then you can see one person likes to finish games at least.
And not like that it matters or anything like that. Like, you play these games, you have fun, whatever and stuff. I'm not. We talked about trying to sound elitist, and I think I kind of just did a little bit by bringing that up. But like,
how dare you?
I know. I think it's just an interesting aspect of looking at one versus the other. PlayStation almost begs you to look at that and say like, hey, look, this person's done it all. And you can see that right there.
I definitely agree that the PlayStation does it better. Yeah. But I mean, when I was chasing achievements on the 360, I would go through my friends list and it would show the 1,000 out of 1,000. I would know that they finished that game. And I think they prioritize those above the other ones. So you could see which games you completed, at least from what I can remember anyway. But yeah, I mean, it was just, to me, it was not just playing a bunch of games, but how many can I actually complete,
But does it also show you how rare that 1,000 out of 1,000 is?
It doesn't.
I have no idea. However, just to clarify, on the actual PlayStation website, if you go on your console and you go on your rarity of your console, like, there's so many trophies that are like really rare, but the reality is they're not actually that rare. They're only rare because it's comparing them against everybody who's just turned on that game. Whereas if you go on, like, for example, the PSN profiles is a trophy hunting website which you have to log in and sign up to. So everybody who signs up to there is a trophy hunter, and that compares rarity of trophies. That sort of shows the real rarity of them, because you're actually competing against people who actually hunt trophies instead of just like a bunch of 9-year-olds who've played like a SpongeBob game or something that have just turned it on and then never finished it. So it's kind of a better representation of the rarity of games. Which to be fair, achievements. I think there is a website that does track achievements. I can't remember what it's called. So the rarity must be on there.
Yeah, I have no doubt there is. Yeah, absolutely. I'd be shocked if there wasn't some way to track that kind of thing.
Let me ask you, Lewis. So you have your series where you show like shameless trophies or whatever.
Yes.
The ones that are too easy to get. I remember on Xbox 360 they had Avatar, The Last Airbender. I want to say it was Avatar, where you could get the full 1,000 in like the first 5 minutes of the game. And I always remember feeling a little bit shameful for having that on my gamer score. But at the same time, it's like, I wanted that 1,000. That's going to help me get to my goal. And I always just felt a little bit, bad about that. Like, do you ever have that feeling?
Interesting question. I think things have changed a lot, Adrian, since then times. I think, like, back in the PlayStation 3 generation, there was like Terminator Salvation and Hannah Montana. Those were like the trademark games which you had if you were like a really like a trophy hunter, and they were like 4-hour platinums. But now the times have changed, where like every month we get these developers that are releasing probably 20 different games that can be finished in about half an hour. And these games have like regional stacks, so not only is that 20 games, you can get them in the EU store, you can get them in the North American store, and usually the Asian store. So there's so many games coming out now. It's kind of like it's normalized the easy trophies, and I think because of this leaderboard with people who are playing like 1,000 platinums a year. I think because I like to collect the trophies. I don't feel like that. I just think I like to collect trophies. Sometimes I want to play easy games, and yeah, I'm not really bothered. But I kind of don't really try not to care what people think, and it doesn't really. I'm fine with my actions. I'm fine with my life actions, Adrian. My life
I'm gonna
choices.
do me. You do you. All
Yeah,
right.
me do
Right.
me.
Do
However,
you ever?
well,
Go
I've
ahead.
got a point though. However, there's like a split in the trophy hunting community. So this is the key thing. I feel like if you're outside the trophies and you look at it, so like I'm not the biggest channel, but I'm in the niche, I would say. And there's this divide amongst you have like your completionists. So these are the people who play games that they love and they finish them to the most. So they might play like they might love Dark Souls, they might love Red Dead, they might love Spider Man, Ghost of Tsushima. They only play the bigger games and they love playing them. Then you have like the trophy hunters who are more obsessed with their numbers and they just want to collect as many trophies as possible. So these are the ones kind of they'll buy all the easy games, they'll buy the easy like AAA games. Yeah, they might play a few bigger games, but usually some people are getting like 25 trophies a day at this point. So but you can tell by that how much they're just playing these games. So there's like two like distinctive different types of trophy hunters. And a lot of the completionists really don't like the trophy hunters because they kind of
That's
think like, oh,
interesting.
you're wasting your time playing these easy games, blah 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 blah. And I sit in the middle because I play a lot of easy games. I'm trying to keep my sides right. I play a lot of easy games, but also I do play a lot of bigger games as well because I'm a gamer as well as wanting to collect
Mhm.
trophies. So it's like I think it's good to sit in the middle, but
Yeah.
there's people on either side who kind of like don't like the other side. But I imagine that's just most things.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Just play what you enjoy. That's
Yeah,
what it comes down
exactly.
to. So, so with that in mind, do you dabble in like Xbox, Steam, anything like that?
I don't now. It's not to say I wouldn't want to. It's just because I don't game as much as I would like, and because
Sure.
YouTube's quite time committing. Like YouTube takes a lot of time, like easily 20 hours a week. So I feel like sometimes I want to play games that are for the channel. If I didn't have a YouTube, then yeah, because I went through a phase where I can't say it. I have like a very few Pokemon games because Pokemon is my jam. I grew up on it. I haven't played the new ones, but I played Omega Ruby. It was the most recent one I played, and I love it. And I usually play a Pokemon game a year. And for that reason, I do want to switch just to play like Pokemon Sword and Shield, Let's
Heck
Go
yeah.
Eevee, the Mystery Dungeons. I'm just big into Pokemon. It's not as good as what it was, but
Agreed.
I love it. And so I feel like if I wasn't on YouTube, I would play everything. It's just the fact that now I feel like I'm honing in on the PlayStation, that I want to
Sure.
just put all my time into this. But I'm not opposed to the other consoles, you know.
So then what about like I mean, you may have just kind of answered it a little bit, but what about as far as like older games or games without trophies? I know with PlayStation, there's really not that many new ones that come out, but I mean, do you ever dabble in like retro or like just games in general that or like let's say you get it's one of those games that has like all the trophies within the first like 15 20 minutes and then there's still a ton of game left. If you find yourself really enjoying it, do you keep going with that or are you just like I got more crap I got to do and just turn it
Well,
off?
there's a few questions you've asked there, JJ. I think in
Right.
terms of,
Yeah.
I'll answer the last one first because it's the most fresh in my mind. Is that I, if a game's good, I'll play it for a little bit longer. But usually, if I've got a game that I'm playing, usually it's because I'm going to do a review about it or something. Or I'm going to mention it on the YouTube, so I might
Sure.
make some notes. And if I've got time, I might play it for a little bit longer. But that usually is the end of that journey. That will perish. It'd be my memory only.
Fair enough.
In terms of older games, I'm nowhere near as retro as you two. I mean, come on, like it's not even comparable. Like when I hear you guys talk about
Wait,
games you
retro
want to
as
play,
us?
retro, well, take that as you want to take it.
Oh,
Retro
fair enough.
gamers, as much retro gamers as you, and I don't. Um, I hear you guys talk about games all the time, and like obviously, and some of the games you mentioned, like I do wish I'd have the time to play them. Like especially like Final Fantasy One, the PlayStation One. I know you can play it remastered, but there'd be something about just like turning it on and just playing these old school games. Because like I grew up on the PlayStation Two. Like that was really when I was probably at my gaming jam. So there's like a lot of great PlayStation Two games that I would love to go back and revisit, which is why I love like the remasters so much. Like I recently played like Destroy All Humans, the remaster, and that game is so good. It is such a good game. But I don't think I've really ventured too far the retro style anymore. Pokemon is pretty much as retro as it gets, and I mean I do sometimes play like Game Boy Advance games like Pokemon Fire Red and
Yeah.
Soul Silver. That's a DS game, but I do sometimes. That's probably as far back as I go.
No, it's fair enough. I mean, I think that's a lot of cases. Like a lot of the retro games that I play are, you know, I mean, you've seen my channel. I'm big on nostalgia, so it's a lot of games that I loved as a kid that I like to revisit and that kind of thing. If I'm like, when I do my 20 games for the year, if I'm throwing retro games on there, it's only a few that I want to play, mainly because of like gaming history or that kind of thing. It's like something that I know made an impact back then that I just want to try out and see how it is. I totally understand that though. Like it's especially, you know, if you grew up with the if you grew up with the PS2 being your primary console and everything like that, it's tough to go back to some of those older games, you know. And like you said, it's cool to go back and see some of that, but that doesn't mean it's going to be easy to get into and really sink your teeth into these older experiences, because they're rough in a lot of cases. So
I've got a good interesting question I'd like to ask you. It's just come up to my head, but I feel like, so do either you play a lot of platforming games? Yeah. How do you feel? So have you played like Crash Bandicoot and stuff, like the reimagining games in 2018 and 2017?
Yeah.
How do you think?
But I want to.
Well, you don't have to for this question, to be fair. How do you feel like going forward, platformers can be the genre that they once were? Because clearly they aren't as popular at all. Yes, I mean, Astrobot kind of has come in and shown that platformers can still be great. But do you think that necessarily that the decline in platforming, do you think it ever will come back properly or not?
Go ahead.
I don't think it will ever be as big as it once was, but I also don't think it'll ever go away. It's just one of those. It's another kind of side way. It's another genre, I guess.
Yeah,
is the word I'm looking for. Yeah, I don't think it'll ever be as big as it once was back in the like in
turn-based
RPGs.
RPGs.
Yeah. Turn-based RPGs are awesome though, to be fair. But
they are, but I don't think they're going to be as big as they once were. Like they were like the RPGs. Like you saw a turn-based game, you thought RPG in your head. Nowadays you see that and it's like, oh, that's old school. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's it's not as mainstream as it once was.
To be fair, we always forget though that Pokemon is a turn-based RPG.
Yeah.
Like, and that's still going strong. And you know, Pokemon, it's arguably the biggest game in the world, probably. I would have said it's one of the biggest game franchises.
Yeah, but would
time.
you say that's due to the mechanics though, or due to like the monster collecting and the nostalgia because people grew up with the series and everything like that? Because they are trying to become more interactive with it. If you played the Let's Go games, you don't catch and battle the same way you used to. You're throwing stuff, and it's like Pokemon
I will
Go.
say, with the newer Pokemon games, the thing that frustrates me most about those games is the battle system, because I feel like they're just slow and easy. They're like extremely easy. You just sit there and do this.
Yeah. Well, I was talking about Pokemon to someone the other day, and I literally was saying, Omega Ruby was the first one I played, the most modern one, and that was the first one that had the XP sharing properly. So the XP you can turn on, and everybody in the party gets XP.
Yeah.
And the game it's ridiculously easy. It's just not. It definitely comes to a point where if you don't enjoy the battling system, I just love it. I love turn-based stuff, but
Same.
I think it's so easy. There's just no challenge at all, and it's kind of like the game's made so that the way it's made, there's no difficulty. For example, there's no difficulty settings, so it's like it's immediately played this way, and you just can't make it harder unless you're gonna like play the whole game with like certain rules that you make up yourself.
Yeah,
right.
Which people have started doing.
Yeah, I've seen them. Yeah, I was talking about the other day. It's like there's a rule where like if a Pokemon faints, you have to like release it. You can never use it again.
Yep.
That is challenging.
Yeah, and heartbreaking. I hate. That just sounds awful.
Yeah, it does.
One of the biggest things I love about turn-based games, if it's done well, is the challenge, is knowing that if I choose this decision or if I make this choice, there's some option or there's some results that could happen because of that. And making sure that I make the right choices and plan ahead before I go into this battle, have the right gear, have the right spells, have the right whatever before I go into it, knowing that, you know, I can mess this up. And Pokemon just lacks that entirely. I mean, they have the you know, the what is it? The elemental based combat, I guess. But it's just like you could take your starter and steamroll the whole game and never use another character.
Well, someone said to me, and actually didn't say to me, I read it in a review, and it was like, Pokemon is the most stagnant game series to ever exist. And it definitely is, because it's like, it hasn't changed really. They've added a few types in and stuff, but they haven't innovated at all. The core principles haven't changed. And I don't know why. I think it's probably because I don't need to change it because it's still the most
Yeah,
best-selling
I
game
don't
of all
mind.
time. But then also it's like, well, if it was, I feel like if I was to go playing it now, if I was to say, right, okay, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to do a game review for this game, I would look at it a lot differently than just playing it for fun. I would literally go,
Absolutely,
yeah, like you know
hands
what, this
down.
game it's far too easy. Like I don't want to play 50 hours of just tapping it. I want a little bit of challenge. I want my types. Like, I want to have the the gyms and stuff to be challenging. And yeah, I get what you're saying, Adrian. Big style.
When I think for all the three of us anyway, I mean, we enjoy a good challenge. I mean, you
Mm,
wouldn't be pursuing these trophies if not, you know. And the games that I play, like I want that sense of accomplishment when I
yeah,
do something. And if I'm not accomplishing anything or I don't feel like I'm accomplishing anything, I get bored and I get
yeah.
bored real fast. And I nope out.
I think that's maybe this state of the gaming industry at the moment is the AAA games that a lot of them that are coming out are just so easy. And that's sometimes when it's like people always ask me like, do you like difficulty based trophies? So like, do you want to play a game on the hardest difficulty? And I usually say yes. Like I'll play a game on normal because that's how the developer wants the game to be played. And I
Mhm.
probably wouldn't play on a harder difficulty unless there's a trophy. But if I do, it's always a different experience. Usually, if it's done right, there's a thing. Just giving yourself
Right.
less health and making someone attack do more damage isn't doing it hard difficulty right. But I think that having the difficulty does definitely improve the game. Or definitely again goes back to the whole thing of if a game's good enough and you want to play through it again, that's only a positive thing in my opinion.
100%. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to circle back and answer your question, yes, I think that just like Adrian was saying, I think platformers are here to stay, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't think they will be what they once were. I mean, for example, with the turn-based thing, Dragon Quest 11, Persona 5, huge games,
Yeah,
massive, like big fan bases, but they're not going to be like, you still don't hear the same people who are into, the Call of Duties and,
yeah,
the Fortnite and whatever's huge with the kids these days. I'm
I've
super old.
heard.
But like I, as much as it pains me, because when Final Fantasy VII came out, I was blown away by how welcomed it was into the gaming community as a whole. Now you see it a little bit, but nothing on that level, and it's usually because of the game mechanics.
Yeah,
And back then it was, regardless of that, everything was so new and innovative and that kind of thing. So I just lost my headphone. Hi. But I think I don't think anything gaming related will go away completely ever. I think there's
just get
always
more
going to be a
niche.
place for something. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, the reason why I actually brought this question up was because Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy, it sold really well, like millions. But then Crash Bandicoot 4 came out, and it did not sell as well. And I can't recall the actual sales numbers, but it was something like half. So it only sold half the amount because I think people bought the Insane Trilogy for nostalgia, but then when it came to
Yep.
Right.
buying a new one, it's like, oh right, okay, well we're not that interested in it. And now I know you said JJ before you love nostalgia. I actually don't like it that much. That sounds really weird, but I feel like in pop culture, half of the stuff we watch now and consume is just a rehash of something we've already seen. So we're getting all these remade movies, like Ghostbusters, Lord of the Rings is getting redone, and it's like every couple of years, like something else comes back in, like Jurassic Park's come back. I mean, I like the Jurassic Park films, but I'm just saying, and it's the same with games and the
A
stuff
lot
that
of
like
reboots.
yeah, it's always rebooting. And I feel like because people like nostalgia so much, it's so hard to introduce new ideas. And yes, Ghost of Tsushima came in this year, it did last year, it did really well. Um, but it didn't really do anything new. And it's like there's so a lot of developers. It's more effective to make a sequel than to make a new IP, which I think is a shame because I want to try new things and I want to like explore the gaming worlds, but kind of limited a little bit sometimes by nostalgia.
No, you're
I'm
you're
with you
100% right. Yeah.
for sure. Like, I mean, think about. I want to go back to Dark Souls again. Dark Souls, when it came out, created a whole new genre. I mean, there was
Yeah,
nothing else like it before. I want that again. Like, I love it, and that type of game doesn't come very often. So yeah, I'm totally with you. But on the same side, though, I do love the rehashes. I am a nostalgic person. I kind of go both ways.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, there's some PlayStation 2 games I would love to be remastered. Like, just have like so many good games, and I'm quite sad that, like, for example, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 came out to Switch only because I love those
Yeah.
games in the PlayStation 3. And yeah, I agree. I want both, but I feel like it's just so much rehashing, and sometimes it's just like I want to see something new. I want to see something new.
Right.
But also on that as well,
Totally
Death
understand.
Stranding is a great
Oh,
example
I
of a
love that
game.
game.
I haven't
Yeah.
played it, but I talk about it quite a lot. For a game I haven't played, I talk about it quite a lot. Because, Hideo Kojima, he kind of did invent a new game, like a new game style. It was
Yeah.
completely different to anything else that was ever done. But he also is a great games developer. Probably one of he's the most iconic, I would have said, for lots of reasons, for lots of good reasons as well. We need more of him, I would say.
Yeah, we do. Absolutely.
Yep. Okay. Well, moving on. So back to enjoyment and whatnot. What was your most fun platinum trophy that you can remember?
I don't. I've seen these just for the viewers. I've seen these notes that JJ sent, and I thought I'm not going to write anything down because I just can't think. I'm not sure. I thought
No.
about this quite a lot. I think it's hard. Like, my favorite trophy lists usually are games that I've loved. So I'm probably going to say is Marvel Spider-Man of 2018 or Dragon Quest 11. Dragon Quest 11, I want to put in there
Really?
as like, yeah, I love that game so much. I don't play that many JRPGs, so when I it's the first one I played in about 3 years. So when I played it, it was the first one I played since like Final Fantasy 15. If you can class that as a JRPG, I'm not sure if you can these days. It's kind of like a
I
Western,
would. But yeah,
and
no, I get what you're saying.
and I just think it's such a good game, and the trophy list improves it. So Dragon Quest 11's a little bit grindy towards the end. Like, there's a few collectibles you have to get, but Spider-Man, for example, it's an easy list. This is why I like games like Spider-Man and Ghost of Tsushima, is because they introduce a new audience. Because people, like, for a lot of people, it's their first ever platinum. So, like, okay, this platinum thing's quite fun. I kind of might keep going. And I think
Yeah.
that for Spider-Man was a lot of people's first platinum. And I think not only is it probably my favorite game of all time, I'm going to put it out there. It's definitely my top 2 or 3 favorite games of all time. The trophy list is really welcoming to everybody. It's not too challenging. And it's just like all around. It's just a complete package. What
Yeah.
about you two? Turn around. Catches side with us from the side. Your 2 favorite platinums. Or 100% Adrian.
Okay. Man, that's a hard one.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
I'd have to go back and look at my list.
I kind of do too.
I really liked, and this is just showing my fandom for JRPGs. I was surprised at how much I actually enjoyed Final Fantasy X, the remaster that they came out with.
Okay.
Part of that was me, like, I had my laptop set up on my coffee table while I was grinding at the end, because you have to complete the sphere grid for everybody. And I was watching old school Star Trek and working my way through those series as I was playing the game. And I just remember getting to the end, finishing it, and being like, I really enjoyed the hell out of actually doing everything in this game. Not that I have any interest in doing it again, because it took forever. But I really had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
So I still remember actually sitting on my couch and just, like, watching Star Trek while I'm grinding on the TV.
See,
It was great.
I totally get that. That's how I felt with Dragon Quest 11, to the point where I was thinking the other day, that game took me 110 hours to platinum. That's a big time commitment.
Yep.
And the first 80 hours was really good. And then there's like a 30-hour grind, maybe 20-hour grind. And I remember thinking, I enjoyed it so much, I might, because they released the Dragon Quest 11S, which is like, it has a little bit more story content. It has like the 2D bit overview. And I was thinking, I could literally buy that game and play it again. Like, I wouldn't even be bothered, because I thought it was such a good game. You need to play, JJ.
I'm excited to play it. I know. I
It's
got
awesome.
one
Need to
left,
finish
and then I'm
it.
there. I'm on it. I got to just finish 9, and that's it.
Like, as someone who's a new Dragon Quest, like, it just blew me away how good it was. Even though the main
I
character
really
looks
wanna
like
go back to it.
Trunks. The main character looks like Trunks from Dragon Ball Z, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's just awesome. It's just such a good story. I mean, I imagine they're all the same. It's like just a generic story about good and evil, but it just works so well. It's
Yeah.
because it's got a, like, anime twist. It's just that little anime storytelling, which I just love.
Yeah, I agree with that. For me, I'm gonna go with Halo 3. Halo 3 was the one that I can remember the most, just because
Great
of
game.
the experience that we had getting there. The trophy that I remember getting the most in that is there was one where you had to finish the very last level of the game with I don't remember what the prerequisites were, but we had to get to the end of the game in ghosts and or banshees. What were they? The little vehicles. I don't remember.
I think I don't think I did it, but I remember I played it so much. I'm trying to remember what it was.
I think it's the ghosts. The little like single man
Yes.
ground thing. Anyway, we had a 4-player group and we were playing co-op, and we had to get everybody to the end of the game in the ghosts without dying or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but we were up for hours one night, and I had my wife playing with us because we needed a fourth. Well, she at that time, she wasn't a big gamer, but she was enjoying the experience with us. And she was getting so like frustrated because she was tired and she didn't want to replay it again. I'm telling you, we replayed this level for 3 or 4 hours straight. And it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. She was just done. And then we finally got it. We finally got it. Like
that feeling.
Last minute. Yes, it was like the biggest sense of accomplishment ever.
That's trophies. That is trophy hunting. When you do something difficult, you finally get it. You just think like, yes, clap your hands, just relax.
Well,
you just
a
little ping.
I remember her dropping the controller and is like, I'm going to bed. And I just gave her a big hug. I was like, thank you for sticking that out for me.
That's love right there.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is. Halo 3 was such a good game. I remember playing on Elite where you would just like get just destroyed. I think that was the first game I finished on the hardest difficulty, or that I can remember. Maybe Gears of War 1 on Insane was probably the first game. Tough, but great games. I love Gears. Gears was one of my favorite franchises. I haven't played Gears 5 though because I've transitioned. But Gears 1 to 3.
Oh man, Gears 5 is good. Gears 5 is good because they open it up. It's more open world.
Yeah, I've heard really good things. My brother's he's like always been Xbox, and he's just got the Xbox Series X, which I know you both have. I'm very jealous of, and I'm jealous of you both have PlayStation 5. It is so hard.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
Yeah, honestly, it's so hard to get PlayStation 5 in the UK. It's ridiculous.
Too.
Like
it is here too. Yeah.
But at least you guys can go to shops though, pick them up, right? You can do that, can't you? Oh, can you not? I thought you could.
I mean, I assume they probably have them, but they're still getting picked up by scalpers.
Yeah, literally, like I've been like following like all the tweet accounts and stuff, and they're literally selling out in about 3-4 minutes, like 10,000 at one point.
Yep.
Bear in mind the UK is not that big. There was 130,000 people in a queue on a website to get a PlayStation 5.
That's crazy. That's
like 5%. Well, there's like 77 million people in the country, which not everyone's gamers, but that's actually quite a frightening amount of people on this queue.
From what I understand, there's a chip shortage going on right now too, so it may even be longer before.
Is it the AMD processor or something?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if I should just throw my towel in and just wait a couple months, because apparently I've read that till June there's going to be a shortage. So
I was under the impression, like, if you would have asked me like a couple of months ago, which I think we talked about it when we did our PlayStation thing, I would have thought by like January, February of this year we would have seen a lot more like in stores, people having them and all that stuff. But I had no idea.
That was my plan.
This crazy.
My plan was I'm not going to buy them at launch. I'm going to get one in January, and because even now the thing is as well, like there's not that many PlayStation 5 games coming out. Like there really isn't, and most of them that do come out, they're like cross-buy. So at the moment, I think that must be intentional potentially because there's just not enough consoles. But so I don't feel like I'm missing out too much. There's a few games I'd like to play, most of which I can't play on PS4. The only game I think I couldn't play would be Demon's Souls. The rest of them are all PlayStation 4. But yeah, it's gonna be the most. I've never had this issue with the launch. Like I bought my PlayStation 4, my Xbox One on like at Christmas. You went into a store and you picked it up and you left. It was like there was no shortages at all. So I think there's such an amount of shortage. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Astro's Playroom is a very easy platinum, by the way. A little advice for you. I don't know if you followed trophies, but just letting you know.
FYI.
Well, being a big Spider-Man fan, have you played Miles Morales yet?
I haven't, no. I really want to play it on PS5. I don't want to play it on PlayStation 4 because I want all the ray tracing, the 60 FPS. And I want to get the remaster because I'm going to finish Miles and we'll go straight into the other one as well, the original.
Yeah.
So
Good plan. Yeah, it's a beautiful looking game for sure. That ray tracing is a game changer.
I can't wait, to be fair. But that being said, I can wait. I say I can't wait. But also, Ghost of Tsushima, to be fair, is getting like an upgrade as well. There's a handful of games that I want that I would like to have now, but I can't wait 2-3 months. I mean, I'm gonna have to wait, but I would like to have it in a couple of months' time.
There's not a lot that's being announced like as far as
No.
exclusivity at this point anyway. So it's and most of the stuff that's coming out, well, not most of the stuff, but a lot of the stuff that's coming out is like remasters of old stuff as it is.
Yeah.
So it's as much as it would be awesome to have a PS5 for so many people, I totally get that. It's really again not like dire to get one of these things right away. And those games aren't going anywhere. You're still gonna have the chance to get to them, and it just means when you do get one, you've got a big pile to get through. So
even more of a backlog. Those games on the
I was
bottom,
gonna say you still have a big pile now.
but they're just unfinished games. So for the viewer, there's actually a stack above, and they're my finished games, and the ones below my unfinished games. So there's plenty to play. Not big a backlog as you, JJ, but it's still substantial.
I admire the fact that you are able to purchase a game knowing that you're going to get to it and play it. I have a problem of buying a game with the intention of playing it and then maybe playing 10-15 minutes of it and never touching it again.
Yeah, I think at all time whenever I watch the pair of you speak about games, when I watch your pickups, JJ, I'm thinking like I couldn't buy that many games. Like I think I've put a ban on at the moment. I think that's why. I think like I was like I'm not buying a new one until PlayStation 5, and I haven't bought a new one in about since before Christmas, which I can't imagine you two can say.
Yeah, so like in my most recent pickups video, a lot of those were gifts and things that were given to me. I have kind of like stopped buying newer games as well for the moment. Adrian and I talked about Immortals Phoenix Rising because I really want to try that,
Yes.
but I know I won't get to it for a while, and so I have not pulled the trigger on it because A, it's going to be cheaper at some point. I know it. B, it's not going to be super hard to find. The only reason I buy games now that are like brand new is because I've got a feeling that eventually they're going to be tough to find. So it's usually like the JRPGs and that kind of thing.
Makes sense. So, I suppose as well with retro, it's like retro games don't. They're at their value now. They're not going to depreciate anymore. I imagine you two will know more than me. Whereas like a PlayStation 1 game.
For me, it's I'm a collector. So that first and foremost, that's what drives me to purchase these new games. But I also have the same viewpoint that JJ just explained, is like, I know that certain games, based upon watching how the market reacts, I know what games are going to be more expensive in the future, or at least I can have a pretty good idea of it. So I want to get those games now when they are at an affordable rate, and then if I ever get a chance to play it, whatever. But I mean, even if they don't, even if I'm wrong, it's the collector in me that is satisfied with just building that collection of games that I love, or genres that I love, more or less.
That's how I feel about trophies, Adrian.
Right.
Trophies, just not tangible. To be fair, though, I am quite pro physical. I'm not digital really. I'd say I only get digital if it's really cheap. I would always prefer physical because like you have it's yours. It's not like just a license.
It's nice to like see that on the shelf. Like I know you say you don't have a Switch, but man, Switch games look so good on the shelf. They really do. Just they look so sharp. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I think they look so good on the shelf.
They stand out for sure.
Yeah. So what about most difficult? We talked about most fun. Any that stand out in your mind that you were like, oh my god, this one was just brutal to get through. I can't believe I actually did it.
Yes.
It's going to be Bloodborne, but you can say your second most.
No.
No, I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Honestly, no, it's not Bloodborne yet. But the thing is, I'm not up to Child's Dungeons yet. So.
Oh yes, those suck.
Because I read the guides and it was like an 8 out of 10 difficulty for Bloodborne, and I was thinking,
oh wow,
this game's not an 8 out of 10. I'm not a good gamer, so I'm very average. I have to say, I'm average at most things in life, and I'm very average at playing games. And I'm like, this game's not an 8 out of 10. Like I often say, like a lot of the guides I read, people can be quite pretentious, and they'll say, "Oh, this game's a 5 out of 10," when really it's a 7. Like I hate that. Just if it's tough, just admit it. Don't be like, "Oh, yeah, it was easy." Pfft. You spent like 20 hours on one part.
I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah. But I think what happens is when you learn the mechanics of Bloodborne and you learn the enemy patterns, it's doable. It's just repetition and like memory. However, the bosses are difficult, and I think that it must be the point where like base games maybe a 6 out of 10, but the Child's Dungeons must be where the difficulty is. I haven't played them, so I can't relate, but I've heard they're very difficult.
They are definitely. What boss are you on, by the way?
I'm on to, what's he called? The guy with a cage on his head, and he runs.
Oh,
He
wow.
runs.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty far in.
Yeah, I think the only bosses I've struggled on with the Blood-Starved Beast was tough, and
The Bloodstar Beast was, oh my gosh, like gave me such a hard time the first
Yeah.
time I played through it.
I had to have my girlfriend come in and she had to sit next to me and watch my health because I just couldn't do it. I was like, because for those who don't know, it's a boss that poisons you, and basically after a certain point of the boss battle, your health just drains constantly, so you have to keep replenishing it. It's really hard. It is difficult. So I was like, please watch this. Just watch the screen because I can't watch it. So I was like, and then she's like, your health. I was like, oh, health. If she wasn't there, I wouldn't be able to do it. I don't think it was challenging. That was the hardest boss of the game. I would say.
Happy
So
to
far.
hear you have some support too. That's awesome.
Yeah, not the same sort of commitment. She wasn't happy about spending 10 minutes of our time, but we got there. No, the hardest one is actually. Have you both got PlayStation VR?
Yes.
I do.
So have you played VR Worlds? You must have.
Yes.
I don't know. Yes.
It's the base.
maybe.
It's a game. You get like the what you get. You get the heist.
It's got
game.
the shark one. It's got the heist game. It's got the
luge.
Luge, yeah.
And it's got
the demo that comes with it.
It's got the ping pong one where you have to hit the ball back.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that is probably the hardest platinum trophy I've earned. It was firstly there's like 5 games, 3 of them are in this demo, 3 are easy. The luge, you have to do every single game race by split second accuracy. That was tough, really tough. But then the ping pong game, it's sort of like you're the table tennis racket. You have to hit back this ball against the wall. It gets faster and faster and faster to the point where you're literally like this. And that was so hard. It took me probably 30 hours of just playing that game. It was insane how hard it was. And that was definitely my standout hardest trophy. And it was an ultra rare trophy as well. It's my rarest trophy I have. Is a platinum trophy for that one. In fact,
Really?
Wow.
yeah. Because it's tough. And a lot of people played it as well. Because everyone played it who had a VR. It's a very common game, but also it's a very hard game as well.
Yeah, I have not. When I looked at the trophy list on that, I was like, some of these games I don't really even enjoy. So there's no way I would try to do all these challenges. And then like the luge one, I started getting motion sickness after the second time that I went down. I was like,
it's tough.
Yeah.
However, do you not think that I remember reading that you develop your VR legs, it's called, where the more you play it, the less nauseous you get. And I think that definitely is true to an extent. Everyone suffers from it differently because I couldn't handle 5 minutes, but now I can handle about 45 minutes before I have to take it off.
Yeah.
But that's my limit though.
That VR Worlds is the only one. It's that one, and then I don't know if it was on the VR Worlds one. Is there one where you're mining asteroids and stuff on that?
I think so. Like in a little crab thing.
Yeah, those 2 games are the only ones that have given me motion sickness in any level.
Oh, right, okay.
And I take Dramamine now whenever I play just to be on the safe side. But before I started doing that, those are the only ones that never gave me any issue.
Oh, okay.
And it was just the constant I think it was the slow movement that you're perceiving, and when you're jumping to another asteroid, it's the slow jump. I don't know, just a little jarring. I would say my most difficult is probably the same one that I said, Final Fantasy X, and not because it was hard to get. It was actually as long as you grind, it's really, really simple. But there is one trophy on there that is, and this is just probably because I have such a fun memory of it, but it was awful at the time. There's a trophy that you have to get where you do to get one of the ultimate weapons, you do a race on a chocobo, which is a mount in the Final Fantasy series, a giant bird. And you have to get a time of 0 seconds flat, where you have to hit these balloons, which cuts down seconds off your time. And then at the end, they take your actual time minus whatever balloons you got to help with that. And there's stuff flying at you, and you have to go along a little track. Some people out there say it's super easy. I had never done it before this. It was my last one to get. I worked on it for a week straight, where I would get up in the morning and do it for 2 hours, and then I would not get it. And then at the end of the day, I would try again for another hour or so. Still couldn't get it. Started bitching to my friends in our Facebook Messenger chat. I was like, I want this damn platinum trophy. I've done everything else. I've grinded so much. I have to get this damn thing. And it's been a week. And my buddy Brandon goes, all right, man, we're coming over this weekend. The 3 of us are going to sit down on the couch. We're going to take turns. We're going to knock this thing out and get it done. They came over. They were over for a good 4 or 5 hours. I bought everybody pizza. We hung out. Still couldn't do it. Still couldn't get the damn thing. None of us. We tried so many times. Believe me, I know there's people watching this going like, man, I got that first try. Like, what the hell? It's not that bad. Had so much issues with it. The next morning I woke up, third try, boom, done.
Wow.
It just blew me away. But that was the toughest I ever had trying to get any trophy, let alone a platinum. So,
it's the ones that have a story with it, that's very similar to mine with the Halo. That is awesome. Those are the ones that are most memorable, that stay with you. I thought you were going to say the lightning dodging one.
No, that was easy. That was super easy. I did that first shot. There's a manipulation thing where you literally, there's a spot where you can cause the lightning to strike. So you just pop into it, then pop out, pop in, pop out. It takes a while, but no, it's really easy.
Huh. Interesting.
Yep. What about you?
Me?
Yeah.
It's got to be the Halo one. I mean, that's the one that sticks out to me the most.
Yeah.
It's just I can't think of any others where I really put that much effort into it.
Where you force your wife to play it till 4 a.m?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
only the one time that happened.
That's
Ever since then, every time he asks her to play, she's like, "Are we doing this for fun? Or are we doing this for achievements?"
Yeah. Every time she has the
pretty much.
Xbox turn on, she starts shaking.
Yeah.
Not again.
Flashbacks. I can't do this.
Yeah. Oh, she still remembers it too. That's the funny thing. Like it's
no doubt. Crazy. So I mean, that's like, I don't know that there's really like so much more to say. Like, I mean, there obviously you can talk about individual games and all that stuff. And first of all, let me say, when I watch your trophy list reviews, to circle back to that, it is damn impressive how you go down the list. I don't know if you have like something that I can't see off to your side or something like that, where it tells you like what difficulties are, but you can literally go down each person's list game by game and say, oh yeah, that was a blah, blah. And I'm like, I've never even heard of this damn thing. And he knows like every trophy and how hard it is to get. Like, what? It is damn impressive, sir. So it's
probably the most pointless skill I actually have in my entire life. I don't know what.
Dude, it is entertaining. I feel, at least for me, it is.
I'm really happy you said that, because sometimes people like are really nitpicky at me because I say like, this guy's got 500 games. Okay, I don't know everything about all these games. I'll say something like, oh, this game's 20 hours, and someone will comment like, it's actually only 17. I'm like, okay then. But I think it's because now there's a lot of games that I'll just I'll use I'll click on, I'll like go and search it. But I think it's because you hear people talk about it all the time. Like, I talk to people all the time. I've got like a Discord where people like are always sharing their games, and I'm always like, oh, like, awesome platinum, how long did it take? And then I must subconsciously remember it, because it'll come up. But as well, a lot of people play a lot of the same games as well. Remember that, like the big AAA games, like everybody talks about them. So like, and I love to talk about trophies, so I know how hard most games are, just because I've like done a bit of reading, or I've spoken to somebody about it. So I suppose it's still kind of like a bit of a pointless skill. It's kind of maybe not pointless knowledge, because I use it for a video, but if I didn't use it for a video, it definitely would be very pointless.
No, but it's something. Go ahead.
It's what you're into. Like that.
Exactly.
It's what you're passionate about, and that makes total sense to me.
Exactly.
I mean, we all have that. Yeah. Like for me, it's collecting. Like I can look at a picture of games on a Facebook post and quickly skim it and know if the asking price is good, or not. I just know values of games. Because I'm passionate about it. It's the same.
Yeah, true.
And for me, it's just hearing stories that go along with games. Like my favorite YouTubers are the ones who it could be about the most mundane thing. I don't know if I brought this up on the podcast. I used to work for a hardware store years ago, and like I remember there was one day that we had somebody come in who was debuting some kind of new like fertilizer or something, and so they wanted to come in and tell the associates about it and everything like that. And so we're like, a handful of us are out back, and we're watching this guy talk about his new fertilizer and how he uses it with the soil and the plants and what pots he uses and sunlight and all this stuff. And he's so passionate and so into it. And like at the end, I remember feeling like, I'm going to be a gardener. Like I was so excited. Like it just got me pumped up. And I've realized over time, like that's what draws me in. It could be about anything. And as long as the person who's talking about it is passionate and loves what they're talking about, which that's why I love your channel, because you go into this stuff and you say, yeah, it's a pointless skill, but it's like, no, dude, like you rattle this stuff off, and it's so impressive to see you like go into these things. You can just see the
Absolutely.
love of what you know and what you like to talk about. That's why it's great. That's why, that's why I wanted you to be on the show, because it's just like, it's just, I love seeing that. And that's how Adrian was in his old podcast. That's what we drew into that. And that's what I try to do on my channel. I just try to get excited about stuff that means a lot to me. And so it's when I see that in other people and everything, it's just awesome. It's great. So anything.
Feels so flattered. No, I agree though. I that makes total sense, because to be fair, when I watch videos of people on YouTube and stuff, like, it's crazy to think how much people watch YouTube, because it's such a it's low budget TV. Let's be real. It's
Yes.
like, you can't compare it. It's like, but it's like, it's because people are genuine. That's what people. That's what people draw in. Yeah, it's genuine. People want it's genuine, and it's kind of like reality TV, and it's kind of like where, because you can interact with the people, and it's like, it's genuine. People actually care so much about stuff that they're prepared to like to put themselves out there and talk about it. And I definitely would say the channels I watch are definitely are people who, like, I'm sure either of you could talk about one game from the 90s for like 10 minutes straight. And it's like, because you've got the passion for the games, where it's like, yeah, I love seeing that as well. I think I definitely would say that's what I try and do as well in my channel, is try and just like be positive as much as I can. I think sometimes I can be negative about certain like developers and stuff, because I think as gamers without talking about too much, like, we do fall victim to developers who are so cash obsessed that are the new games suffer a lot.
Yes.
So it's hard to be positive about that sort of stuff. But I think, again, it's showing you care though, isn't it, more than anything? Not necessarily that you don't always have to be positive. You just have to care.
No, you're 100% right. Yeah, I mean, I've said it on the show. Like, I do my my video of where I talk about 20 games that I just plan on beating for the year.
Yeah.
It blows my mind how like much interaction I get based on just that stupid list that I come up with arbitrarily on my own terms, that I just think is fun for me. But people love seeing that stuff, where to me, I look at that and I'm like, this is the most mundane, like, whatever. But I love it. I genuinely love it. And I think that's probably why people respond to it so much.
Like, I watched one of your videos where I think when you just going through your PlayStation collection and stuff, that actually like inspired me to go through my own, because like I just watched it for like 25 minutes, talk about like 20 games, if that. Well, yeah. And I was like, I want to make this video. Like, I want to talk. I want to talk about my games. Like, it inspired me to do the same.
Awesome. Hell yeah. Yeah, I remember watching yours as well, and I remember you saying one of the first things you said was like, it's not a massive collection and stuff. It's like, but then you go into it again. It's just about seeing the person, their eyes light up, talking about things that they love and what they're into. It's great.
The same applies to me when watching your videos over trophy hunting. I mean, that's kind of reawakening something that I haven't been into in, gosh, like at least 10 years. So it's cool to see that there's a whole nother world of people who experience games differently than I do. And it's sparking a little bit of that in me. I've been going through, I don't know, I haven't told you this yet, but
I've been going through
I've been going through Dark Souls 2, trying to figure out if I want to platinum that game or not. Because I'm going on my third time to beating that game now with JJ and Billy. And I'm like, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to do this? I don't know. I might.
You should. I think you should.
There's so much. It's hard.
Your third time through,
because
you should have been doing that from the start anyways. Just being like, how can I do this differently? How can I get this trophy?
I never go into those games with trophies in mind. I just go into them to enjoy them. So
that is the best way. I just put that out there. That is the best way to play, in my opinion.
Well, now I'm like, I've played this game so many times. I need to at least accomplish these subset of goals.
That's true.
And so I don't know, but you have to plot out how you're going to play it. And that to me takes away from the enjoyment.
That is true. You do have to do that quite a bit. That's why sometimes it's better just to play a game blind and then go for the trophies afterwards. But if you're playing like a 50-hour game, do you want to play it twice if you're not sure if you're going to like it, or do you want to just go in for the trophies first time? That's kind of the dilemma I have.
But that's a great point.
Yeah. I was just going to say, trophy hunting, it's definitely a niche community, but I definitely think it's getting bigger. I think, like, over like, what's happened in the past year, like a lot of people have been inside, especially in the UK. Like over the past year, we've spent almost 6 months in lockdown now.
Mhm.
It's pretty crazy. Like not straight. We're locked down from like March to like July, then October. It was actually probably about 8 months to be fair. Actually, and I think people had more time in the house. A lot of people who necessarily weren't really hardcore gamers have started to play a lot more games.
Yeah.
And because like gaming has grown, gaming declared like the biggest like profits they've ever declared last year. It was insane. It was something like 30%, which is like more growth than they've ever had. Some companies did well during the pandemic, but gaming's grown as a whole, and I think that like the niche community of trophy hunting is really starting to grow. Not massive, like, but there's definitely like tens of thousands, if not maybe hundreds of thousands at this point.
So what with that in mind, what advice would you have to like somebody who wants to join that community and become like a trophy hunter?
Oh, I would just say to play the games that you enjoy and finish them to start with. Pick a couple of games that you really enjoy and just enjoy them and just get the trophies. Then if you can finish the games, if you can't get the trophies, if you couldn't 100% a game that you love, I probably wouldn't recommend you to become a trophy hunter because you probably can't finish games that you don't like, games that maybe you aren't that fond of. So like, I loved Spider-Man. If I couldn't platinum that game because it's pretty easy, I'd be like, well, it's not for me, which is absolutely fine. Like, you can still watch videos about trophy hunting. You can still watch videos on what other people are playing. You don't have to spend thousands, let's be real, hundreds to thousands of hours of your time playing something that you're not set on. I think you've got to love it. It's like, you've got to want to do it. It's got to be like your gaming like drive, I would say. Otherwise, just play games for fun. Just do what you want and just do what you enjoy is probably my goal. It's what I would say.
Well, there you have it. If you're going to be a trophy hunter, don't
do it.
No,
don't join the dark side.
I think that's really sound advice. And again, like I said, that's one of the things I loved about your channel was that, like we said before, it's super easy to fall in that like elitist camp. When you're talking about like, I've done this really hard challenge and everything, but like, one of the first things you always preface your stuff is like, I'm just talking about this because this is what I love to do, but do not follow my example if you do not want to do this. This is not like something you have to do to, become somebody. Enjoy yourself, have fun with it. So
you're never going to be
that's something we can all get behind.
You're never going to make money off collecting trophies. You're never going to be famous off it. So you've got to do it because you want to do it. It's like it's your passion inside. I mean, that applies to everything. It applies to collecting, to playing older school games. You do it because you enjoy it, and that's the key thing in most things in life. To be fair,
right.
That being said, it is pretty sweet to see other people's profiles.
I mean, that is true.
That dude's played a ton. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I like to. That's why I like doing the video so much because like. It makes me realize that there's so many games I haven't played. I go through this list and I'm like, damn, this guy's, for example, done Death Stranding. I'm like, I just really want to play that game. Oh, this guy's done this. It just makes you realize there's so many games out there and there's just not enough time to play them all, sadly.
Yeah, understatement. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do we have anything else that anybody want to say trophy related, anything like that?
You should do it if you enjoy it. I'm trying to spitball. I can't think of anything else to say. Another advice would be to actually, if you want to collect lots of easy games, I have lots of videos for that.
He does indeed.
I do.
Like I've said plenty of times before, anytime I do get the trophy itch, that's my resource right there. It's like, oh, okay, well, this what the 4 games for like $1.99 that I can get a platinum in like half hour with. Yeah, sure, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So.
And stay away from online stuff as well if you're trophy hunter. Like online multiplayer stuff's so hard. So like if you want to be trophy hunter, really think about whether or not you want to do the online because sometimes it's like 200 hours commitment for like a shooter game or a sport game, and it can be really tough. So don't overcommit.
Yeah.
Is actually some good advice. Don't overcommit to hard games straight away.
I do remember the multiplayer games were always the ones that would throw a wrench in my plans, especially with the Halo games and stuff. It's like, why did you throw those achievements in there for online stuff?
What's the one that I think it came out either last year or at the end of the year before with all the where it's a battle royale ish, but like it's a race to the end or like
Fall Guys.
Fall Guys, yeah.
Fall Guys, yeah, like that. Looking at the platinum on that, I'm just like, oh god.
No, so me and my co-host Joel on YouTube on my podcast, we did like a vote. So we did like Game of the Year awards, but we let our like viewers vote, and we had a vote. One of the votes was the hardest platinum trophy of 2020, and Crash Bandicoot 4 and Fall Guys both drew for the hardest platinum trophy because Crash Bandicoot 4 is insanely hard. There's like 50 levels. You got to do them all in such incredibly fast times. And then Fall Guys, like, it's you got to win 5 games in a row online,
That's
and there's like
insane,
60 players.
Yeah.
It's like insane how hard it is. It's just ridiculous.
Did you platinum Crash 4?
I haven't played Crash 4. I don't plan on.
Oh, that game, I'm casually playing it right now, and that game is definitely insanely hard. It's just one level, I played through 15 times before I beat it. It's really hard. It's fun though.
And that's not including the fact that you'd have to do that for the Platinum Relic, which is probably like, not only you have to do it perfect, you have to do it incredibly fast. Like, it's insane. I've Platinum Trophied Crash 3, which is the easiest of the Crash Bandicoots. And that one's not so bad, but it's a lot of perfect timing. It's very precise.
Yeah. That's too much.
Yeah.
I don't have the patience for it.
No.
That's one of the reasons I'm excited to finally try the Spyro games. I hear they're really easy to platinum too. So I'm looking forward to getting into those.
They're really good. So I prefer Spyro. I've played the Insane Trilogy and I haven't played the Reignited Trilogy, and I think that Spyro is it's a different kind of game. It's more leisurely. You just enjoy seeing all these different cool level design. Yeah, it's a really, really good game. The third one, I think they get better as well. Whereas like Crash Bandicoot, people would argue that they get a little bit worse. I think Spyro 3 is the best of the 3.
Awesome. Yeah, can't wait. Lewis, you got anything? I mean, obviously you want to plug your channel, but anything specific you want to throw out there?
Not particularly. I have a podcast which I do every other week, which we talk about all things gaming, PlayStation, and trophies. It's mainly a trophy channel. It's me and my good friend Joel. We talk about all sorts, though, to be fair. We talk about gaming news and trophy topics, and we have guests on, and we have a good time doing so. It's a lot like this one. We just casual, have a very informal chat about gaming and stuff. That's it, though.
All right.
You've pretty much plugged me enough, JJ, to be fair.
Yeah.
So
I'll have
that.
links down underneath and all that stuff and everything. I got to make sure you get your spotlight, man.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
We're happy to have you. We were so excited. We've been talking to each other about this for like over a month since we talked to you originally. Just how stoked we were to be doing this. We're like, the more we're thinking about it, like, I'm excited to talk some trophies. Okay.
Yeah, I like talking trophies, surprisingly.
It's like, I mean, achievement hunting and trophy hunting is like surprisingly deep when you really get into it. And when you get into the community and you're able to talk to other people about like how they approach different games and what games gave them the most difficulty and all this stuff. It's just so fascinating to hear about everybody's experiences and what they went through. I love it. Like I said, I will have all of your links down below in the comments and everything. Adrian, you got anything you need to plug, sir?
I do not. Just going to keep on keeping on.
All right. Well, with that, if you're listening audio wise, you're obviously also already listening to Pixel Perspective. If you want to see the video, head on over to Game Room Revival, my YouTube channel, and the episodes are up there as well. And vice versa. If you would rather hear the audio and not see my face, which I totally understand, go ahead and just head over to any of the major podcast platforms and you can hear the audio version of this show. I'm exhausted, but that was really, really fun. Lewis, thank you so much for joining us, man. That was a blast.
Thank you. Yes,
really,
I enjoyed the conversation.
We'll finish recording now.
We're about to be. I just have to do the sign off.
I wasn't sure that. I wasn't sure if you were just like unwinding there. You're like,
I just wanted to thank you
in that case,
again for the millionth time.
We'll probably cut that bit out then, will we? No, thank you very much for having me. I want to speak to you guys for a while as well. I've watched pretty much all of your podcasts, if not most of them.
That's awesome.
I listen to them. I listen to them all the time when I make my breakfast. It's like my thing. It takes probably 3 days to get through one podcast because kind of like you have it on the background. You pause it, you come back. But no, it's been really good. It's been really fun to talk to you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. And we'll definitely keep in touch and I'm in your Discord and everything. And looking forward to see what you put out in the future. And, I'm just excited to always have gaming in common with more people. So
likewise, I agree. Spread the love of gaming.
Yeah, exactly. With that in mind, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill, all that fun stuff. And as always, keep on gaming.
Keep on gaming!